Okay, so welcome back. So learning a Mishnah. Learning Mishnayos is not easy. If Mishnayos were easy, there'd be no need for a Gemara. But there's a difference between if I'm learning Mishnayos and only Mishnayos, and if I'm learning a Mishnah at the beginning of a sugya. If I'm learning Mishnayos and only Mishnayos, I'm doing so to be koine yediyas and shas. But if I'm learning a Mishnah at the beginning of a sugya, I'm planning to get a real Havana here. I'm planning to get involved. And if we appreciate, as we spoke out previously, the importance of going through the process on my own, trying to be an Amoira, so Mamela, it'll take me more than 3 or 4 minutes to learn a Mishnah. Sometimes it'll take me 15, 20 minutes to learn a Mishnah at the beginning of a sugya. Why? Because I'm trying to be an Amoira. So now, what does it mean to be an Amoira? What am I doing in those 15, 20 minutes? So what do the Amoraim do? The Amoraim are mainly clarifying the parts of the Mishnah. Now, I mentioned previously 5 or 6 parts of every Mishnah, but I want to keep it simple. There are 3 main parts of every Mishnah. Those are the case, the din, and the tam. Now, obviously there are exceptions, but every Mishnah virtually has a case, a din, and a tam. A case, for example, Beitz Shanol, the Biyomtiv, Hamafki Dez Chaver Behem Kelim, these are cases. Now, sometimes you'll have multiple cases in the same Mishnah. And another thing about the cases is that it's not always spoken out in the words. What does that mean? For example, Ha'isha niknes b'shloisha drachim. That's a din, right? Ha'isha niknes b'shloisha drachim. So where's the case there? So it's always important to speak out the case. Meaning, in this example, I would say that when a man wants to be mekadesh an isha, the din is niknes b'shloisha drachim. It gives clarity. So that's the case. Then we move on to the din. What's the din in the Mishnah? The din is what to do. Chayav, pater, muter, aser. That's the din, or whatever the din is going to be. And then we have the reason. Now, there's a difference between the case and the din. The case, as we mentioned, is basically always in the words. The din is you'll always have it in the words. You have to know what to do. But the tam, the last stage of the tam, the reason, is rarely ever mentioned in the words. Rarely you'll have a Mishnah that'll say a mipnei, give a reason behind that. But it's there, obviously, because there's a reason why the din is such in that specific case. So that's the tam. Now, the tam is the most difficult to get and the most important to get, as we'll see. So there you have it, case, din, and tam. So my whole job when this 15, 20 minutes is going to get clear these 3 parts of the Mishnah. Now let's take this a step deeper. Every Mishnah has to be a chiddush. That's a fact. V'haraya, if the Gemara doesn't see a chiddush in the Mishnah, it'll ask, Pshita, there's no chiddush in the Mishnah. Since that's true, a case is really more than just a case. A case is really a problem that I'll have, a halachic problem that I'll have. Even after everything I know in all the Mishnayos and Shas, when I come to this case that the Mishnah is giving me, I'll be mesupik. I won't know what to do. I'll have tut stadim and I won't know what to do. And the din of the Mishnah is mechadish to me, do this. So really, the case is a problem, and the din is the chiddush in the problem. I'll give you an example. There's a Mishnah in Elam Mitzias that says, Matzah Sfarim, koyer bahem achas l'shloshim yom. If I find Sfarim, you read in them achas once every 30 days. So where's the case there? Matzah Sfarim. And the din is read it every 30 days. So now it's amazing how in 2 words, Matzah Sfarim, we're going to see there's so much information packed in those 2 words. Matzah Sfarim. So background information number 1 is Matzah Sfarim. Rashi tells us we're talking about Sfarim that are olden day Sfarim, meaning not like a sefer we have like on the books, but we're talking about scrolls that if you don't roll them over a certain period of time, they're going to get moldy. So that's background information number 1. You need to roll them. Now, background information number 2 is the fact that there's a chiyuv l'tapel be'aveda. When I find something, I'm walking along and I find something, I have a chiyuv to make sure that it stays in optimum shape. I have to make sure. I have a chiyuv l'tapel be'aveda. Background information number 3, which is going to lead us to the problem, is the fact that there's an isser lihishtamesh be'aveda. I'm not allowed to use an aveda. So when I come to this, I'm walking along, I find these sfarim. So on the one hand, the chiyuv tipol shaboy is gonna mean that I'm gonna have to be rolling these scrolls over a certain period of time. Every certain amount of time, we're gonna have to roll these scrolls. So I'm going to be doing it anyway. So mitzad sheni, there's an isser lihishtamich. But my question is, could I read while I'm rolling it anyways? Is there an isser lihishtamich, boy? Can I use it? So I don't know. Mitzad echad, there's a chiv l'tapel, boy, which means I'm going to be rolling it. Mitzad sheni, I have an isser lihishtamich, so maybe I can't read on it. Maybe I could, maybe I can't. Now this is just brackets. Yeah, Ayin Sham in the Meiri, the Re'im L'Nil, there's different mahalchim, and obviously, as an aside, we'll see that when you learn Mishnayos, there's always a machlek, but most of the times there's machleksim about what exactly the problem is. But I'm just trying to bring out the point of that a case is a problem and a din is a chiddush. So there we have it. We have a case which is really a suffix. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do in this case. Comes along the din. The Mishnah is mechadish to me. Yes, you're allowed to read it. Once you're rolling it anyways, you're allowed to read it. We're going to allow you to read in it. Okay, so that's an example of a case and a din. So there's a lot more than just the case is matzah sfarim. There's a whole background information, and my job is going to be to clarify the case and the din. Now we come to the reason. So the reason is the most, as we said, is the most difficult and the most important. Now why is that? I want to read to you Rav Yitzchak Kampaton, Darkei Gemara, what he has to say about a tam hadavar. He says over here, Ki hayodea tam hadavar, hu yodea hadavar b'siboisav. If you know the reason of something, you know the thing with its reasons. Ki hi hayodea hashlema v'ha'amitis. It is the complete and truthful knowledge of something. It's like you're walking in the way and you have this flaming torch lighting the way. You know the way that the light is going to shine. You know the light is shining the way for you. And it continues down, he says, he says, when you know the reason, when you know the reason of something, you're going to be able, it'll give you the ability to bring to light or to solve any problem that you'll have, any detailed problem that you'll have that was not mentioned in the Mishnah. So let's explain this point. What does this mean? Rebbe wrote Mishnayos. Now, he wanted to be koilel as much as he could in these Mishnayos, which why they're very extremely, mekutzer lashon. There's a lot of information packed in here, so he couldn't have written 50 million Mishnayos. If you want to include every single possible case that could happen, you'll have to write millions and millions of Mishnayos, and that's not possible. So what did he do? He gave you a specific case, and there's a reason behind it. Now, what does the reason give you? What does a tam hadavar give you? It gives you the ability to apply the concept. There's a principle in this Mishnah, and if you chap the reason, it's basically magdir to you. It gives you the ability to apply this principle, this klal, to other cases. It makes the Mishnah usable. Meaning, if all I come away from a Mishnah is just knowing matzah sfarim, I'm extremely limited in my knowledge. I don't know. Like he says over here, it's a yediyah hashlema v'ha'amitis, because I'm extremely limited. All you know is that matzah sfarim. I'm stuck. So the only way I can apply this Mishnah is if I find olden day 1,000-year-old scrolls. I'm gonna have to be turning them. That's a very limited understanding and knowledge of this Mishnah. Rebbe wanted to teach us principles and concepts. The way he did that was through cases. But my whole job is to find the tam hadavar, which will give me the ability to apply this Mishnah to other cases. It's beautiful. Now it's very difficult. A lot of times there'll be a machlokes about it. There's a lot of times, and you see as the Gemara never says, a lot of times the Gemara says, my time, what's the reason? But even if the Gemara doesn't, you'll see the different cases that it brings. It's work. It's pashut work to try to figure out the tam, but it's the most important and it's the most geschmack. And it's the hardest part. So there you have it. There's a case, the din, and the tam. So in my 15 minutes of learning Mishnah, I want to get as clear as possible these three parts. And there you have it for today.